Hello there, lovely folks in Pennsylvania. I'm Aaron Zenz, and I am the author and illustrator of Chuckling, Ducklings, which you have graced with the honor of being a Keystone to Reading Elementary Book Award winner, and I am so thankful for that. And I'm thrilled that kids are just reading it in the first place, but then to know that they looked at that and they selected it as their favorite book is just huge. That's a huge honor. I'm sorry I can't be with you today at the award ceremony to be a part of that. And at the luncheon, I hope you guys are all having a good time. I was asked if I could make a short little, actually not short, they asked for a 20-minute video about the book and about my background and what went into creating this book. And I'm happy to do that. But I know that would be an awful long time of just me talking and you staring at my face, and nobody wants that. So I thought that I would bring something along to make this video a little more interesting. So let me grab that. Here's here it is. A hairy beast. But this is Lily, and I brought Lily along, so she's gonna make it more interesting, I think. So if I get too boring, it's your job to spice things up a little bit, okay?
I'll just say something completely random. Popcorn!
So Lily actually is not completely random. She has a tie to this book. You can see, there's a little ducky. This is for my duckling Lily, and here's my duckling Lily. Even from the time she was itty bitty and shouldn't have even known any better, her favorite animal were ducks. Do you know why that was? Why do you like ducks so much?
I don't know why.
No idea why. One of the questions they had mentioned was any stories from my childhood.
I saw some books that you wrote at Grammy's house when you were just a really tiny kid.
Really? So really tiny? Like how tiny were they?
I don't know. You weren't like a baby or anything. You were like 4 or 5, and they were hilarious.
Oh, they were hilarious when I was 4 or 5. So I've gone downhill from there. I always enjoyed writing and making pictures, and I thought I had this with me, but I didn't. I have to go right over there and grab something. Entertain them, Lily. Go. All right, I'm back. Here's a story that I wrote when I was in 2nd grade, The Great Crayon Escape. And it is about a box of crayons. They get tired of living in their crayon box. There they are. So they decide to go out, have an adventure. They try living in a castle. They try living in the forest. They try living in a boat. They fall overboard, and somebody has to throw down the anchor to rescue them. Mama bird thinks the brown crayon is a worm and tries to feed him to the baby. If you want to take a look at that a little closer, you can go to my website and see that. And here's another one that you can see on my website too. This one I wrote when I was in 3rd grade. It's called Pencil Pete and the Penowanemies. And it's about this cowboy pencil. And he meets up with these Native American pens, although people really didn't say Native American when I was in 3rd grade. Here's one of the Indian pens hiding behind a hill. And there's a big epic battle that takes place in the middle of the town. So I've been writing and illustrating ever since I was a little bitty guy, and I just grew up and I'm still doing it. There was never a point in time that I thought, I want to be an artist and I'm going to start now. It was never like that. It was just I was a kid that drew all the time growing up. And when you do something over and over and over again, that's called, what is it when you do something?
Deja vu!
No. It's also called practice, right? And practice is just when you're doing something over and over again. A lot of times we think of practice as something where somebody's making you practice. Go practice your soccer.
Go practice football.
Go practice your piano.
Go practice your multiplication tables.
Right.
Which I'm actually not very good at.
And when you practice, you get better, right? And now I'm a grown-up, and I am an author, and I am an illustrator. And this is my studio space, and this is all you're going to see of it right now, is this wall of books, because that's really all I have set up. I just moved into this space. I've been an illustrator for about 8 years, doing it full-time, and this is the first time in those 8 years that I actually have some studio space outside the house. Previous to this, I worked in my home. I was fortunate enough to have a room set aside where I could set up shop.
And now we get his other room.
Right, so they got my old studio, but I'm going to show some pictures so that you guys can see where I created Chuckling Ducklings. This is the space I just moved out of.
He took all of our kids' pictures
oh, okay.
and put them on the wall.
So that first row at the very top by the ceiling is all of the kids' artwork, and they inspire me, and I love my kids, and I love their drawings.
You can barely even see the wall because there are these shelves covered in knickknacks and
right.
Stuff, like toys and like pictures and.
So these are also things that inspire me. It's kind of like what goes on inside my head all day long, sort of leaked out onto the walls of my room. These are all things that delight me and inspire me, and I surround myself with them because they get me in the mood for making things for kids. Kids are awesome. Kids are awesome, and that's why I make children's books, is because kids enjoy the same kind of things that I enjoy. My parents joke that at Christmas time, they can shop for my kids and for me in the same aisles of the stores. We also love books, right?
We have like 7 bookshelves.
We have a ton of books. It's been a while since I counted, but my guess is we have about 5,000 picture books.
Wait, you counted our
that
books?
I did once a while ago. I make regular rounds to places where I can find used books for 10 cents, a quarter. Over the course of 15, 20 years of very regular rounds adds up to
5,000.
Yeah, pretty nice collection. So we have, how many people in our family?
8.
8 kids. Oh, not 8
no,
kids.
8 kids.
8 altogether. 6 kids.
6.
8 people total in our family. It's very noisy. Not that that's bad, but it's just a very difficult environment to try to get work done. So I started working a self-imposed third shift. So I would work at night while the house was quiet, everybody was sleeping, and then I'd go to bed and sleep until maybe about noon, and then I could be up and I could play. I could play with the rest of the family, and they got me around more than if I were trying to hide myself away from during normal working hours.
And I remember every single day, all the kids would come in his office and look at the new little adorable animal.
Right. I would be sleeping, they would wake up, and they would run upstairs to see what new little critters I had drawn during the night for the book. Now I can work during the day now that I have this space here.
Now he has jazzercise next door.
Yeah, right. So now I moved into a studio.
And he can hear music all day.
Right, where twice a day in the adjoining room is a jazzercise studio. Women in there doing their jazzercise stuff. So it's not perfectly quiet here, but that's only a couple hours a day. Some of the other things that I do as an author and illustrator, I love to do school visits. We talk about how to make books. There's puppets involved. I spill water on myself. It's a great time having
puppets.
Well, there's a puppet right there.
Oh,
there's
wow.
Opie. Hi, Opie.
Hi.
Your voice is very different than the last time I heard you.
Yes, that's because I'm being done by a woman.
Oh, a woman. There's things that I do all throughout the day. There's things I do with these guys that are creative endeavors that I think feeds directly into what I do with my bookmaking.
Like we paint things.
One project we did just for funsies was to do some family-friendly street art where we painted rocks different colors, we put little faces on them, then we took them and we spread them out all around the community. Then we did it again with sticks and painted faces on sticks. And then we did a third one where we're doing leaves, and
we're doing that now.
So here's Lily's little creative leaf guy that she made. Is this something that's going to help a book get published?
No.
I don't know. Does it feed my creativity? Absolutely. So is it an important part of what I do? I would say so. I would say that's just as important as me sitting down at a desk and typing on a computer. So it's a way of looking at everything in life just through sort of creative lenses. It doesn't stop. That's the thing. Being an illustrator is not the kind of thing where you punch in at 8 and you punch out at 5. The creativity goes all day long. You don't turn that off. I enjoy fun things. I enjoy nonsensical things. I enjoy art. I enjoy writing. And I enjoy the fusion of those two worlds. Stories filled with pictures and pictures filled with story. One of the things I was asked was about some of the other books that I've made. So far I've been able to work on 22 books, 5 of them that I have authored and illustrated, and the rest of them are things that have been written by other people and then I get to do the pictures
22?
for. 22?
Since when?
Since 8 years ago when I started doing this. So Lily's in shock over here. Breathe, Lily. This is the very first one that I wrote and illustrated, the Hippopotamus. Thanks, Lil. Now, the thing that that attracted me to this book was the nonsense words in the poems. I didn't necessarily feel like, oh, I must write about a hippo that has hiccups, but because of all the crazy nonsense words in there, like words like hippopotamus and cementipede,
Yellowfin,
dental flossaris. Yeah, yellowfin. I enjoyed the nonsense words, and I took those words and I hung a story around that. So the initial inspiration for this book wasn't so much the storyline, but it was the nonsense that I enjoyed working with and playing with. That actually ties in a little bit to the story behind Chuckling Ducklings too. I worked at a place where we did coloring books, so this is a coloring book that I worked on. And the assignment I got was just, we want to do a book about baby animals. Total free reign to run with it. I could have drawn 24 pages of puppies. I could have done anything I wanted. But because of the way I'm wired, I always like to try to create a little challenge for myself. I set a personal goal to see if I could fill all 24 pages in here with a baby animal that had a different name. So, puppy and kitten and bunny and fawn. So I made a list of all the ones that I knew, and then I dug in and started doing research. And with the research I did, I discovered some amazing things. I discovered that a baby mouse is a
Pinky.
Baby llama is a
Korea?
Cria, you know? And the best one of all, a baby platypus is called a
Puggle.
Puggle. Isn't that amazing? I just thought that was the greatest thing, that the word puggle exists, and the definition of a puggle is a baby platypus. So it tied right into my love of nonsense words. Puggle is the most amazing word in the world. Puggle, puggle, puggle. So I wrote a book called I'm a Puggle, You're a Puggle. The very first step that an author and illustrator will take after they've written out their manuscript is they'll do a little mock-up like this, and it's called a dummy. And this dummy is called I'm a Puggle, You're a Puggle. Actually, this is the second version of the dummy I made. Here's the first version, and Lily helped me out with this. So she wasn't supposed to help me out with this. When you were 2 or 3 was when I first had the idea for I'm a Puggle, You're a Puggle. And she came and she saw it sitting on my desk, and she thought, that's not right. This book needs some color in it. So there we go. Lovely job, Lily. And so I took that story and I showed it around to people for years and years and years. 2 or 3 years I shopped it around. One of the pieces of feedback that I'd been getting over the years was that people thought it was a little too cartoony looking. They liked the idea, they liked all the animals in there, but as you can see in that original dummy, the characters kind of had big googly eyes. I wanted to find an art style that was less cartoony and a little more stylized, and so I worked up some digital art that looked like this. I worked up 4 pieces of artwork like that. I was in contact with a company called Walker Books. I was doing another book with them called Nugget on the Flight Deck. And we were waiting for some things to get greenlit. While we were waiting, I sent them the manuscript for I'm a Puggle, You're a Puggle, and they liked it. They liked it a lot. They liked the story. They liked the new art that I had worked up, but they thought that there was a mismatch. They thought that the story kind of sounded like it was for a little bit older kids, but they thought the art looked a little bit too young for the age level, and so they wanted to know if I could come up with some art in another style. So we'd already gone through 2 styles for the art. So I picked ducks, and I thought, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create 9, 10 new images of ducks, all in 10 different styles, and then I'm going to send them to the publisher. I'll let them pick our favorite one and then move forward with the book. And here's the first one I made. Here's some little ducks. The next night I worked up another style of ducks. The third night I worked up another style of ducks. Here's attempt number 3. And then, stop! Wait! I loved this picture. Not only was this my favorite picture of ducks, for me personally, it was my favorite piece of artwork I had ever made in my life up to that point in time. And I thought, I can't take any chances. I can't take any chances of working up 7 more illustrations of ducks and taking the risk that they would pick another one. So I stopped right there. I sent them those pictures, hoping that they would like the same one that I did. And they immediately wrote back and they said, we love that. We love that new picture of those ducks. I'm a puggle, you're a puggle, it's a go. Then I started working on the sketches for the book. Look at this. Here's a sketch for the book, and somebody got a hold of that one too. Half of the baby birds. Here's the other half of the baby birds.
And actually, baby pigeons are really ugly, so it was really hard for her to make them cute.
She remembers that. Making a cute baby pigeon, we'll show you a picture of what an actual baby pigeon looks like. That is no small task. And there was one problem. The only problem was they didn't like the title, I'm a Puggle, You're a Puggle. They thought it wasn't clear enough what the book would be about. So I thought through a number of different options. I thought of calling it Puppy Piglet Puggle. But then it came back to the fact that, you know what, I had worked up all these ducklings in different styles. I love the ducklings. Lily loves ducklings. And I thought, you know what, why don't we just call it Chuckling Ducklings? So the book moved away from being called I'm a Puggle, You're a Puggle, which was the whole reason I started making the book in the first place.
Oh.
Yeah. So now, what I thought we would do is we would show you a little bit about how I made the illustrations. Come on, Lil, let's go. So here we are. Now we are at another part of my studio. There's Lily. And we are looking at, we'll wait for this to focus. These are the tools that I use. So it's all color pencil. And here's an illustration for a new, I don't know if I'm supposed to show you that. Oh well, surprise! Here's a new book that I'm working on. It's about a little bat character. These are some little guys that my kids and I painted, some little monsters.
Bam!
Bam! Alright, so here we are back in sitting at my table where I do my artwork. And I thought I would show you a little bit of the artwork from inside. So there we go. So this is the actual artwork from the book. Here's a picture for the cover. Title page. And then here is the grand finale. All the little critters all laid out. Oh, I know what I can show you guys. The missing picture. Originally there was a baby crocodile in the book. There's a croclet. Turns out baby crocodiles are not called croclets. They're simply called hatchlings. And I already had hatchlings in the book with these little guys. With these little hatchlings. We had a problem. And I already had the artwork done. Here's the original artwork for that page. Where it's got this cute little baby crocodile with a pile of pinkies on his head. So we lost the pile of pinkies. There they are. This is the only time they'll ever be seen. So we lost the pile of pinkies. We kept the one pinky snuggled up to the kit. And then we added in a baby porcupine, which originally was not in the book.
You should put a pile of mice on the porcupine.
Yeah.
Porcupine.
Right. I don't think that would have worked as well. You can't really...
Oh wait!
Yeah. Right. What would happen if you pour a bunch of poor baby defenseless mice on top of a porcupine? It would have been a much different book then, wouldn't it? So, and then the other nice thing about this is that right off the bat, part of my initial pitch was that this book has the potential to turn into a series. There's also great names for what you call adult animals.
A baby.
Baby cow is a calf, but a daddy cow is a bull.
Oh,
Baby mouse is a pinky.
A baby.
And a daddy mouse is called a buck.
And a dad turkey is called a gobbler.
Yeah, a dad turkey is called a gobbler. A mommy sheep is called a ewe. A mommy deer is called a doe. So that led to the creation of 2 more books. Thanks, Lily. So here's 2 more books that just came out this past year. Huggable and I Love You. So this has a bunch of different names of daddy animals in it. So here we go. Take a nap. Our dads are boars. A boy gorilla is called a silverback. Different kinds of animals that are called bulls. And in the back, it's got the chart again that shows all the different daddy animal names. Same thing with the mommy animal book.
The possums, baby.
All right, Lily likes the baby possums in this book. Let's see if we can find them. So there you go, there's all the little cutie possums. And I thought I would show you how I make those pictures. A lot of times when people see my work, they're very surprised that it's colored pencil. I just thought I'd show you real quick my method of coloring.
I am dancing for you.
Why don't you film, Lily? Lily's gonna film. Okay, but we'll get a little duck going for us here. Alright, so here's a sketch. Then what I would do is I would lay down kind of a mid-tone. So let's say, you know, this is a duck, so he's going to be yellow. And I would just push as hard as I can, really, really hard, so that no color pencil shows through. And just lay down a really solid layer of this yellow. So if I was a painter, I would just grab a paintbrush and I would go bloop, 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 and it would all be covered up. But because I am a colored pencil artist, it just takes a really long time. So it may take me an entire night just to fill in the solid colors in a really big animal. I'll take another color, a little bit of a darker color, and I'll layer that over top. Usually shadows are at the bottom side of a critter. Then what I do is I go back in with my other sort of base color, and I use that pencil to sort of blend in, to blend the two colors together. And then maybe I go back with this, and go back with this, and then I'll take white to make the highlights. Whoop! And there you go. And that's what happens. I break tons and tons and tons of pencil tips as I'm working on these books.
He has a collection.
I do. Every book I do, I always save all the pencil tips that I broke. So here's my Chuckling Ducklings pencil tip bag. See, there's just pencil tips laying everywhere. There's some over there. There's some over here. These are the ones that I broke making that back cover. I push really, really, really hard. I break a lot of pencil tips. So it's just a matter of going back and forth with between the base color and a darker color and a lighter color. So I almost feel it's like sculpting. It's kind of like pushing and pulling the colors to get it the right depth that you want them. And then when it's all done, it looks like that when it's all. So that's the process that I use when I am illustrating. And I guess that's it. I guess that sort of it tells you a little bit about me, a little bit of my background, a little bit about what motivates me, how this book came to be. Again, I just want to express how very thankful I am for the award, for the honor. That means a lot to me. Hopefully this little peek into the process means something to you as well. And I thank you. And enjoy your dinner. Enjoy your chicken or whatever you're eating over there. So, bye-bye.